Good morning, everyone. Is everyone present? Well, I hope you're all staying safe and thank you for attending this meeting. And if you still don't know me, my name is Sean Luis Campbell and I am the CEO of this BPO company, The Market Thinkers. You all might be wondering, what's the purpose of this meeting? It is mainly for the transitioning of our newest acquired project from the United States. So we need to look for some of the best practices in transitioning management that our competitors are doing. So the first one is that they are not dependent. And this is according to outsourcingcenter.com, and in instances where they began with a people-dependent model and then switched at a later point to the process model, there was a dip in service performance until the rebadged employees could perform at higher standards to meet the expectations of the outsourced service. So the second one is walk the talk. Not just talk internally about the importance of the outsourcing strategy and relationships, but also they behave toward the provider in a way that enables a successful transition. So this entails management at both companies agreeing upfront that they will work through any challenges without getting into the blame game and focus instead of the facts or on the facts and the objectives and the win-win situations. So they also agree to treat each other with respect, creating an environment for resolving issues jointly takes a concerted upfront effort. The third one is they're open and they communicate. So our competitors or the buyers from the outsourcing center reported that resolution was easier in cases where they had taken the time upfront to establish a communication structure that facilitates open discussions so that both parties can clearly understand each other's perspectives around the potential resolution outcomes. And lastly, they anticipate pressure from parallel critical activities. That's why we need to expect that we could potentially encounter indifference. Lastly, they anticipate pressure from parallel critical activities. That's why we need to expect that there will be challenges that we could potentially encounter in the transition process. Since we have already presented and discussed their best practices, we should also look for the challenges that other companies face. So let's hear it from Mr. Bernardo.
As the transition manager of this project, some of the challenges that companies face in transitioning work are communication disruptions like internet outages, that is very common here in Philippines. Poor phone connection or other communication malfunction can occur at any time and in any place. Whether the disruption happened offshore or within the BPO company or hiring organization, it can affect workflow and productivity. The next one is budget constraints. Budget can pose a problem in any industry, including BPO. If you're a BPO company, you're likely to work with clients who expect impressive result for a modest cost. If you're a business looking to outsource, you may find your limited resources to allocate to BPO. Sometimes BPO can involve startup and recruitment costs that add to the fees for routine services.
Okay, thank you for that presentation, Mr. Bernardo. And let's move on to our next discussion. Can anyone tell me what is the importance of operations management? Yes, Miss Villamore.
As the operation manager, I can tell the importance of operations management. Operations management in its simplest form is the control of business operations for the purpose of achieving goals, increasing productivity, and maximizing profitability. Operations management is a branch of management that oversees the entire production timeline of a service or product from the input stage to the finished stage. This includes planning, organizing, and supervising operation to produce the desired outcome of a high-quality service that satisfies customers' demands. The entire operational system of an organization is under the control of operations management. Organizations need effective operations management to run their daily operation. There is a greater likelihood of internal conflict across departments in the absence of effective operations management. For the continuation of our discussion, let me call Ms. Lirag to explain what an interruption event is.
My name is Norida Lirag. I am the Assistant Operations Manager, and I am here to discuss what interruption events are. Interruption events are events and occurrences that temporarily intervene in the usual business operations. Some examples of this are disasters like typhoons, flash floods, or virus outbreaks. These three examples may interrupt the business operation process when the establishment and facilities get damaged and or affected by this catastrophe, or as ordered by the government, just like what happened during this COVID-19 pandemic, when some businesses were ordered to temporarily shut their operations down.
Okay, how about a critical situation? Let's hear it from Miss Quadra.
The terms and definitions I will mention are all based on the presentation and discussion of Prof. Jason X of the lecture about Business Continuity Management, which is from Service Management Program, SMP, and IPPAB, or the IT and Business Process Association of the Philippines. So, hi everyone! Before I start, I would like to introduce myself for those who don't know me. I am Antoinette Quadra, and as your senior admin, here are my thoughts and input about critical situation based on my research. Critical situation, or CRITSIT, in the IT-BPM is when your ability to render consistent, excellent services has been compromised. It is also an organizational state where symptoms of service quality and operations management degradation is becoming apparent in the delivery of services. To say it simply, CRITSIT ay kapag nagkakaroon ng problema in which nagiging hindrance ito or balakid para makapagpatuloy na makapag-provide ng consistent and excellent quality of services ang isang organization. Here are the telltale signs of a CRITSIT or its symptoms. First one is prolonged period of non-achievement of SLAs or contractual obligations. Paulit-ulit or patuloy na hindi nagagawang agreements at ang obligations of employees to their company or with their clients. So, the second one is business controls and or financial posture of a contract account is assessed as high risk. Nagkakaroon ng problema sa business controls or pera that goes in and out of the company. Third one is lingering IT infrastructures, issues causing problems in operations, examples, delays in processing of client's payroll. Ito ay pwedeng magresulta sa wrong or delayed output. The fourth one is data privacy incidents or fraudulent activities involving clients' information that are recurring in the workplace. It means that there is a leakage of information ng clients na posibleng mag-lead sa hacking or pwedeng makompromise ang mga property o pera ng clients. The fifth one is customer satisfaction rating is on a downward trend. Customer escalation is spiraling upwards, meaning hindi satisfied ang customer sa services na pinoprovide. The last one is increase in cost. Example is additional resources. Nagdadagdagan ng gastos ng company na minsan ay nauubusan na ng emergency funds. Entering a CRITSIT or critical situation. state of being on the verge of crisis or emergency that is not addressed could lead into an elevated risk level. A crit seat is no ordinary exercise and it should only be declared once a defined set of criteria has been determined by the senior management. Declaring a crit seat. The crit seat should be jointly declared by the following. Ito dapat ang naka-identify or nagde-declare ng isang crit seat or critical situation. Sila lang dapat. The first one is delivery center leader or general manager. Second one is competency leader or delivery process leader. And last one is delivery center or competency process quality leader. And that's all for my part. Thank you.
Thank you for this wonderful presentations. And Mr. Bernardo, since you're the transition manager, natapos na ba yung process mapping and notation ng bago nating project?
Yes, Mr. Campbell, Miss Manibo, you can start presenting now.
As a division manager, let me fill you in first on what process mapping and notation is, and then its two components. Process mapping is the act of creating a map of process in the form of a flow diagram which details every step of that process. Process maps help to gain insight into how processes work and how well they work. When a process has been mapped out, it's easier to see where issues can occur, where time and effort is being needlessly wasted, and where changes might be made to improve the process. The purpose of process mapping is for organizations and businesses to improve efficiency. Process maps provide insight into a process, help team brainstorm ideas for process improvement, increase communication, and provide process documentation. Process mapping will identify bottlenecks, repetition, and delays. They help to define process boundaries, process ownership, process responsibilities, and effectiveness measures or process metrics. One of the purposes of process mapping is to gain a better understanding of a process. The flowchart below is a good example of using a process map to understand and improve the process. In this chart, the process is making pasta. Even though this is a very simple process map example, many parts of business use similar diagrams to understand processes and improve process efficiency such as operations, finance, supply chain, sales, marketing, and accounting. On the other hand, notation uses standardized symbols to make process maps easier to understand for all relevant parties, such as the management, employees, and consultant. It offers a standard notation that's readily understood by everyone. All parties can easily analyze public and private business processes. It also helps companies and organizations to visualize business processes, document processes, analyze business processes, and discuss the processes using a common language. For example, is the creation of a bill. In this instance, we model a process in notation that uses some business rules. To create a bill, discount may need to be added. The computed discount and the sum of the order are relevant criteria to create a notation. The discount is computed before the bill is created, and this results to a very simple process. The calculation of the discount itself shouldn't be modeled in the notation.
That's impressive. Thank you, Miss Manibo. And now, we're open for any questions or suggestions. Anyone?
I think we should create a plan for at least 3 threats that we might encounter in our business operations.
Well, that's a great idea. Let's have it by pair and let's take a break for a moment and please return to this meeting after lunch. Thank you so much. Welcome back, everyone. Nandito na ba lahat? Nakabalik na ba from lunch? So let's start presenting our potential threats. And let's start with our presentation with Miss Maniba.
Potential threat in Philippine operations.
As we're all aware, Turkey and Syria were greatly impacted by the earthquake that happened recently.
That is why we need to prepare ourselves for the big one.
Earthquakes could potentially injure our workers, destroy business facilities, and interrupt not just the transportation infrastructure, but the whole business operations.
Business continuity plans should include plans for an alternative relocation office, notifications up and down the supply chain, staff accommodations including laptops, flexible schedules, and etc., post-earthquake additional staffing considerations, communications with the public and customers, and supply chain considerations.
For the next threat, we have inflation. When inflation arises, the potential effects in business are raised prices and decreased profit margins, increased costs, and disgruntled customers.
In order to cope up with the effects of inflation in business owners can review price regularly, increase efficiency, and prioritize customer loyalty.
Our last example of threat is the typhoon. We all know that due to our country's geographical location, it is prone to typhoons. That's why we should be prepared for this, for its potential effects in business, like deceased and injured staff, as well as damaged facilities and establishments.
That's right. That is why we could implement work from home arrangement or ask for assistance from other branches or centers, as well as have available employees on site to render overtime as our business continuity plan. And I guess that sums up our presentation. Mr. Campbell, do you have anything left to say?
I would like to thank every one of you for all of your ideas and cooperation in making this meeting a very productive meeting. Let's see each other again, and as always, Team Market Thinkers. Meeting adjourned.